and welcome to Matchday Live. It's the first Yorkshire derby of the season and Friday night football at Hillsborough this evening. We'll have all the build-ups come on Matchday Live, and don't forget you can watch tonight's game in selected countries. Head to the LUTV website to buy your pass now. Tonight we welcome a former captain, defender and scorer of a very good goal. It's Dom Matteo.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Great, thank you. Great to be here.
Dom, a Yorkshire derby. This is exactly the kind of game that you'd have loved.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, listen, hopefully it'll be tackles, people flying in. I just want to see a bit of energy tonight. Obviously, last performance, 0-0. Decent performance, but I just want to see a bit more energy tonight.
Look, still very early stages in the season, but how important is it to get a result tonight, Dom?
Yeah, and I think this is the kind of game, I know the players will be up, you would be, I would be, I'm excited. A derby, any kind of derby, if you can't get up for a derby, you shouldn't be playing football. Yeah. So you've got to be up for this, and like you say, we'll have brought a load. They'll be, I think it'll be a really big, attendance tonight, I'm sure, because obviously both clubs are well supported. So looking forward to it. Obviously, I want us to start really well, start quick, and try and take charge of the game. I don't think we've done that too many times in the last game. So I think for us tonight, how we start is so important. If we start quick and we get at it, I really fancy us. But on the other thing, if we don't, then they'll get the tails up as well. I
think with it being a Yorkshire derby, you know, there is going to be that kind of edge to it, like you say, yeah. Dom. And both teams are going to be keen to start quick, aren't they?
Yeah, I generally believe that. And I think in them first 5-10 minutes, whoever gets hold of the ball in the early part of the game, you know, we can make difficulties to the other teams. And I just think if we're on the front foot early and we put the pressure on early and we make things, I mean, stick a few balls in the channels and stuff, you know, sometimes I think we're a bit nice with the way we play. So I think sometimes stick it in the channels. We've got so much pace in our team. Use it and utilise these players who've got the pace as well.
Yeah, just on that, you know, after the game against West Brom, you were talking about having some of those players that are, you know, angry, not necessarily angry, but passionate. And I imagine that a Yorkshire derby can inspire that, really.
It's got to. Like I mentioned earlier, you've got to be up for a game like this. It's so important for the fans as well. I mean that, it really is, because the fans have obviously, we've had a couple of draws in the league. The fans want to see us win. They're desperate for that first win. And as a player, you're desperate for that first win. So in a derby, this is the right time to go out and perform and show it. And I think the fans will love that. If we can get the points tonight, honestly, the feeling that the players will get from, because I think they've had a bit of stick, the players, I think, because the draws were, I think if we had 4 points now, everyone would be okay. But because we've only got 2, I think the fans are feeling a little bit deflated, which I think it's a bit harsh, really, because we're only a couple of games into the season and people are still finding their feet. But that's no excuse at times, because the fans travel, they do everything to make the club better, and we try our best as well. So I think it's just important tonight we go out and showcase what we can do. Absolutely. And not worry about them too much.
And you know as well how quickly things can shift. It only takes one win and you're hitting the ground running. And in terms of building on recent performances, you know, in that game against West Brom, there are some positives. We dug in, kept a clean sheet. Will that have given them some confidence heading into this game?
Yes, most definitely. I mean, West Brom are no mugs. They know the league inside out, and it was always going to be a difficult game. And I think the 0-0 was a positive result. There wasn't many chances for either team, to be brutally honest. So getting away and getting apart and coming back to, you know, the training ground, working on a few things. And I think generally the one thing we need to work upon is obviously putting the ball in the back of the net. Because when we're getting the opportunities, we haven't been taking them. And I think away from home, you have to be defensively minded, but I think away from home with the players we've got, I just think we can catch teams on the break with our pace. So we've got to use that as well and make sure they look very good. Then I watched that last game against Sunderland. They were really poor, and I could have picked so much thing out of how bad they were defensively. But again, because it's a derby, you know, I kind of think from their point of view is they'll probably fancy it, and I think the manager will give them a right telling off. If you've conceded 4, I think the manager on your case big time. So I just think, again, they'll have something to prove. I think they'll have to be more organised than what they were in the last game. But I just hope they're not. I just think I'm just hoping they're rubbish. But obviously, because it's a derby as well, I think we've got to keep our heads as well, because you know, rash challenges. You know, I know it's the Championship, and you sometimes get away for a little bit more. Just be careful we don't make any stupid bookings early on, and then it costs us, you know, in the rest of the game.
Right, well, let's head over to Hillsborough, shall we, for the first time this evening, and hear from our commentary team, Bryn Law and Tony Dorigo.
The sun is out still here, early evening in South Yorkshire, as we look ahead to a Yorkshire derby against Sheffield Wednesday. And we'll start with a quick look at the Leeds United starting 11. One change to talk about. Tony, it's Aronson in and Piru on the bench.
Yes, I think Aronson now gets his opportunity. Clearly he's had a tough time previously, but now he's got a chance to kind of put all that right. So he's come back, he's worked hard, he's been on the bench. And Peru hasn't really been putting up any trees, unfortunately. So, a change I think was probably the right thing to do. So Aronson gets his spot.
We saw goals galore in the first game, no goals at all in the second game. What can we expect this evening?
I'm hoping a bit of both. No goals against and a few going forward. I think what was positive clearly was the mentality of our boys at West Brom, to really eke out that 0-0 draw, get that point, keep that clean sheet. But they'll want to do more. They can show a lot more going forward. I suppose that will be the challenge tonight. But as we know, in derbies, local derbies, anything can happen. This lot are going to be absolutely fired up, aren't they? Sheffield Wednesday to try and put one over us. We need to be exactly the same back to them.
And when you look at their form so far, well, they start brilliantly with a 4-0 win, and then their last league game was a 4-0 defeat. So hard to judge what Leeds are up against perhaps this evening.
I have no idea, but let's not worry about them too much. Let's worry about us and what we can do. Do things right, and we get a result. I think the start of the season's always difficult. You want to get off to a flyer, don't you? You want to get that confidence going, but with 2 draws, everything feels a little bit flat. But on the face of it, actually, it's not too bad as long as we can get some points here.
Well, Leeds came here last season and won well.
Yeah,
they'd love to do the same again tonight, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and I've got some quite happy memories here myself of scoring a few against this lot. But it's going to be difficult. But I think we've got the players to do it. But it's actually getting out there, and doing it for that 90 minutes. So there'll be periods in the game where they will be on top, but can we see those moments out? And then when we get those chances, we have to take them, but more importantly, we have to create more tonight.
So there you go. Big game, big crowd expected, and hopefully Leeds come out on top.
Yeah, like we heard Tony say there, in the Championship, in the Yorkshire Derby, anything can happen, but like he also said, it's important for us to focus on what we're doing, isn't it?
Of course, concentrate on yourself. That's all you can do as a footballer. You'll have all your instructions from your manager and your coaching staff, but when it comes to getting on that pitch, it's down to you, and you've got to make sure you're up for it. And like we mentioned, and like Tony and Bryn were talking about there, this is a brilliant game for us, I think, to go and win. For that confidence, and I feel like we've got so much quality. It's just putting it all back together again. I just want to see, like Tony mentioned as well, a bit more creativity in the final third. Why not? I think sometimes we're a bit slow at doing that. Move the ball quicker. I think that's one thing we didn't do well in the last game. Got to move the ball quicker.
Well, look, in terms of team news, Dom, one change from that game against West Brom. Brendan Aronson comes in for Joel Peru. It's a big game for Brendan, this, isn't it? It
is. I think we've seen when he came on, obviously he got his goal, the equaliser, then probably he'll be disappointed that he never
that
quite...
He didn't get that second.
I know, we were all there watching and we wanted him to get it so badly. You can certainly see he's got some quality when he gets on that ball. So I think that's why he's playing tonight, because obviously we know Matteo Joseph might hold it up as well, but he's got to get in the box as well. One of them has to get in the box. One of them two at every point has to be in. Someone has to be in the box. So I think them two playing obviously together, I just feel like there's Aronson, can he put the ball in to Matteo Joseph? I want to see him a bit more of that, because he's not an out-and-out striker, but we need that link up. We need somebody to link the play. We know the wide lads are going to make things happen, but getting them on the ball. And I think obviously Aronson's got a responsibility to get the ball to the wide lads as well. He's a clever player. He needs to be a bit stronger at times, we all know that, but that's something he can work upon, and I think he has got that ability to take a player on and make something happen. So I want to see that tonight as well.
Well, look, the Sheffield Wednesday side, when they look at Leeds United and their approach to games, how do you think they're going to set up tonight?
Well, I think when you've had a 4-0 defeat, I just generally think the manager will say, we have to get back to basics. I know we're at home, we've had a good result at home, we've lost heavily away. So I think most teams in the Championship now, it's just what I think is, at home you expect to win all your games. And I think Sheffield Wednesday, with their fan base, they'll think the same as well. I think we're the same. But I think away from home, we've got better quality, but it doesn't win you a football game. Everyone's got to be at it tonight, and they'll be the same. And I love derby games, and I think as a kid growing up in playing in derbies, they were always the big ones. Playing for Leeds against United, games like that, they were just the best ever. The atmosphere was electric. You know, remember Alex Ferguson saying these are like raucous.
Yeah, because you know that the fans are absolutely up for it as well.
And again tonight, this is a game. Imagine, you know, I know Friday night for me, it's you know, to watch the football and take your son.
Have your Red Bull.
Have your Red Bull, of course. Always have your Red Bull. Always keeps you lively. So I just think it's like you say. It's again, we've got the players. So tonight, I want the leaders. We've talked about leaders before. Ampadu, he's been absolutely outstanding. The way he's talked and the way he's led, it's been brilliant. We need more of that. We need more people doing that as well. And then once we've got that, things become a little bit easier for you.
Cheers, Dom. Let's get the thoughts of the boss, Daniel Farker, shall we?
Against Sheffield, we know we need a complex performance. So they've done brilliantly in the second half of last season. More or less a mission impossible with a great run in to stay in this league. And then a really good start with a home win, impressive home win against Plymouth. And also a good cup away win at Hull. Don't like that much the last result at Sunderland, if I'm honest, because after such a result, you look under each every stone what you can do slightly differently. And I think they will be highly motivated. Also Friday evening, Yorkshire Derby, floodlight is on, spotlight game. To show reaction to this result will be a very difficult game because it's anyway a side who plays always with intensity and spirit and togetherness. I think they will show this in this game even more. So we have to be prepared for this. We have to be ready for this, but also to make sure that we bring our strengths into the game. So I liked a lot at West Brom our work against the ball. I liked a lot our defending. We have to do the same again. But also to add a bit more quality with the ball in possession and also especially in the final third of the opponent to create more chances to score goals. So we need a complex performance in this game.
Dom, it's been a tough start, hasn't it, for Daniel Farker? But he always remains cool and calm, doesn't he?
Yeah, I love him. I love his attitude. You know, I think he does tell people straight as well, which I like. I don't know that for sure, but just the way he talks, he
seems like an honest man.
He does, and that's what I love about him. I love anyone who's honest. I loved it when I was a player and the managers were honest with me, whether it's good or bad. I like that, and you have to be able to accept that. But yeah, he's done a brilliant job. Obviously, you know, in a way, we weren't unlucky because we drew the first game at home. We could have easily won that. And I think he'd been frustrated that there was so many individual errors that we're not used to happening. They happened. So again, you go back into the next game, you get another point as well. So it's not too. I don't think we've started. I mean, the fans will say different, but you know, at home we definitely should have won that game. We know that. But the next game's a point at West Brom. It's a good point. So if you were sat with 4 points, it'd be a little bit different. Forget the cup games are obviously important for every fan, but we got battered, didn't we? That's it. And sometimes we got to react, and I want to see a reaction tonight as well. And
we heard him talking there, Dom, about adding quality with the ball and in the final third. That's going to be a complete game changer for us, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Listen, I think the manager for me gives good information to his players, and I think as a player, you've got to take that on board. You know, all the coaches, everyone's got a role. Everyone knows you. When you get out on that pitch, everyone's got a role. I knew as a centre-half, straight away I think, right, I've got to win all my headers. No, any challenges, any one-on-ones, they're mine. You've got to have that mindset and in different areas of the pitch. And I think we've got players who are good enough. I think sometimes now it's just, again, that little bit of quality in the final third is so important because in the Championship, the players aren't quite as switched on. In the Premier League, they're more switched on. The concentration levels are better. But in the Championship, sometimes if you make that little mistake, you might get away with it. So for us, we've got so much quality and so much pace. We've got to use that and make them fear us when they play against us. Use that pace as a little bit of fear. When you're playing against quick players, that's what you think sometimes. I better be careful here because he's rapid. So, but you've got to put the people in the right position so they can exploit that and use that pace.
So they can be effective in their roles, of course. Yeah. Well, look, the club added their latest recruit to the squad yesterday with the arrival of attacker Lii Ramazani from Almeria in Spain on a 4-year contract. Here's what he had to say to LUTV after agreeing the deal.
Well, welcome to Leeds United. I know it's been a crazy 24 hours for yourself. So how does it feel to be here and signed?
Finally, I'm here. I'm excited, and I can't wait to get started.
When did you know of Leeds' interest, and what were the factors in making your decision?
I think there's not really a choice, you know how big the club is, and it was an easy decision for me, and yeah, I just decided, you know what, this is a no-brainer, and yeah.
Because it's a big move for you to come back to England, because you've had such a good time in Spain.
I was very excited to come back to England, especially to a big club like this. It's a no-brainer. So,
what do you know about Leeds United, and what are the things about this club that excite you?
The fans, the club, I know how big it is. It's an emotional team, very passionate, and that's something I love, and yeah.
Well, every supporter has been looking at clips of you in action, so can you tell us what they can expect from you?
They can expect I've got a bubbly personality, I'm funny, passionate, very passionate, quick, a bit of everything, to be fair, yeah.
And how do you feel your game will suit the Championship?
I think it will suit it because I bring a little bit that different flair, the different type of skills, yeah, and I think I can excite the fans and bring something different to the team.
And you're joining a team that has a very clear objective to return to the Premier League. Is that a real factor for you in coming here too?
Yeah, 100%. I think the objective is very clear, and just bringing them back up, and can't wait.
And the manager, have you spoke to him? What's he had to say to you?
Yeah, he was a great chat with me, and then he's very open, he's very straightforward. He said to me, just enjoy yourself. He's really excited to get started and to see me out there on the pitch.
And that's it now. I bet you can't wait to actually get out Elland Road in front of the fans.
I'm just excited, to be fair, yeah.
Well, he's bubbly and he's funny, and we always say we like a personality, don't we, Dom?
I love a personality, yes, I do.
He's a good signing, this lad.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, everyone's looked at the clips, as we've all said, and there's some quality out there. We can certainly see that. And obviously scoring at the Bernabeu, is it?
Yes.
You know, for Real Madrid in
the opening goal.
Opening goal in what, 30 seconds?
Yeah, 38 seconds.
Wow, I mean, that must have been an amazing thing as a young lad to score a goal there. I mean, I played there, but I didn't score there, so fair play to him. But yeah, I mean, look, it looks like he's in amazing shape, as you would be. But obviously, when I've seen some of the clips, he looks like he's very tricky, likes to get on the ball, tries to make things happen. And yeah, I think it's a good signing. Obviously, we'll learn more about that. But he looks the part. He's obviously got ability, and he'll be another player who hopefully can score his goals and make goals as well.
What's it like, Dom, for a new player arriving and fighting for a starting place?
Yeah, it's difficult. I can only talk about my own journey with that. When I signed from Liverpool to Leeds United, obviously Ed Woodgate, Radaby, Dewberry, and a couple of others. I think Danny Hay was there at that point. So I was thinking to myself, I'm going to have to work hard to get in this team. Just because I come from Liverpool doesn't mean I'm going to be straight in the team. Fortunately, I did get into the team after a slight injury, but I think you get a feeling when you come into a club, and I got a really good feeling when I first walked through the door because of people like Gary Kelly, people like Bridgie, people that you just when you walk in, is that first, they've got a little bit of personality and they make you feel welcome. So I'm sure he'll have had the same when he's come over the last few days. There's
a lot happening though in those first days of you arriving here, isn't there? Yeah. Because it's not just meeting everyone here. You're now in a new place. You're sleeping in a new space. Yeah. So there's so much change and upheaval, isn't there?
There is. I think the clubs, though, Leeds United were really good with me. They got me settled in. I moved into a hotel straight away. I had an option of going and staying in an apartment for a while, but I didn't. I stayed in the hotel, Alton Hall. One of my old favourites.
Nice.
So yeah, got married there as well. I think obviously they'll be set up nicely. They'll have everything they need, and I think maybe just getting to know a few of them players make that connection. And I'm sure a few of them will reach out and say, "Come and have a bite to eat or a chat or something." Sometimes that just breaks the ice. That's what happened with me. It made life really easy, and you get nice feelings straight away. So I think you've got a good group of lads around him as well. So hopefully, like you say, maybe the captain will pull him and stuff.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. We say so often, don't we, that this squad as a whole, the morale is high amongst them, and they seem to get on really well, don't they?
Yeah, they look like a good bunch, don't they? Sometimes too nice, maybe. Maybe. No, I'm only joking. No,
I know.
I think we've got a good squad. I love the manager. We talked about him earlier, but I think again, it's just when you're playing for Leeds United, there's a pressure, and there should be a pressure. And what the fans demand is effort and endeavour and putting your head on things when you maybe don't want to. You've got to do that, and that is the big thing when you play for Leeds United. The first thing Eddie Gray said to me, they're the basic requirements of of being a Leeds player. You know, win tackles. You know, you can play a bit anyway, but I think the Leeds fans just love a tackle, don't they?
Yeah,
they really
we do.
They really do. You know, obviously, again, going back to my age, we got David Batty, Oli de Cobb, that loved the tackle. You know, and when I'm playing with them boys, I was like, this is happy days. And we've got players like that. Yeah. We have got players, you know, that can do that as well, that job.
Okay, well, let's get the thoughts of the skipper, Ethan Ampadu, now, who thinks there's plenty to build on after the last 2 weeks.
And just as typical of the Championship is, you know, a really exciting end-to-end game against Portsmouth, and then a real battle against West Brom, and that just shows you how each week is a totally different hurdle.
Yeah, that's the Championship. It's a relentless league. It's a good league. It's a tough league. I think I could tell you all the emotions, but we're just going to try and keep ourselves steady, play with steady minds, and just really put out a performance that we know we can do.
You know, this time last year, you were a new face, you know, learning about the pressures of playing for this club. How has that helped you now, you know, as captain, to feed that message across that, you know, things can really kick on from the next couple of weeks?
Of course, whenever you join a big club, you're going to be a little bit nervous, have the pressures, but then throughout the year when we enjoyed such enjoyable moments and seeing that bond that the players had with the fans, it's that what you try and relay on to everyone else, that how good it can be and how good it can get, not just for us players but as fans as well. That's the bit that you really have to try and drill into everyone.
Last year, you know, managed to get some good results against Sheffield Wednesday. That sort of goes out the window with the manager now in the door, properly getting his feet under the door. What are you expecting from them?
Like I said, a tough game, a team that are well drilled, organised, a team that are going to try and win the game. But then we back ourselves, and all those things I said about them, we back ourselves on that as well. So it's going to be a good game. It's going to be an exciting one. Like I said, the atmosphere is going to give it that 1 or 2% more. But it's going to be, hopefully we can put on a performance that we were really proud of.
There's a lot of pressure around derbies. There's a lot of nerves as well. You know, they've won a game 4-0, lost the game 4-0. You know, so it's similar sort of situation, isn't it, where you never know what's going to happen. You can catch them out by surprise. There's a lot of pre-season talk about how good they're going to be, but is it a case of stamp your authority on the fixture from the first whistle? Yeah,
not just because it's a derby, but because that's the way we want to be anyway. That's part of our DNA to put our stamp on the game from the very first to the very last whistle. And Friday's just another game that we have a chance to do that.
As the Championship, as we've touched upon in this interview, is relentless. Another Yorkshire derby the week after, so it's a real chance to end the month on a real high the next few days.
Yeah, exactly that. Well, no matter what's gone on this past week, we know what we can achieve. We know the potential in our team, and like you said, if we can end the month like that, then that'd be great.
Kickoff is fast approaching over at Hillsborough, but the under-21s are also in action this evening, and at half-time they are 1-0 up against Aston Villa thanks to Luca Thomas. Just on Ethan Ampadu there. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Just on Ethan Ampadu there, you know, do you think he's right to sort of play it down and keep calm?
Yes, I think he should. He's a leader. He's the captain. He speaks very well, actually. Like I say, I've heard him talk a few times. He speaks sense, actually, and I think the players look up to him, and they should. You need the captain to have a voice and says things right. And usually for me, when I see him play, he sets the example for everyone else as well, because he's a 7 out of 10 every week for me. He doesn't have many bad games. I hope I'm not jinxing him now as we speak. But, he is very consistent. Yeah, I love players who are consistent. They're the ones that every week are in the team.
In a word, your score prediction.
In a word, 2-1 Leeds.
Oh, thank you very much, Don Matteo. Right, it is time to head over to Hillsborough and join our commentary team of Bryn Law and Tony Dorigo. But before we do, let's get the thoughts of Jayden Bogle.
Jayden, you're anticipating a warm welcome here yourself this evening, aren't you? I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll be a lively atmosphere. But yeah, it's a game we've prepared well for, and we're looking forward to it.
Big crowd, big atmosphere, big game as well, isn't it, for both sides?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it'll be a good game. Both teams up for it. And yeah, hopefully we can come away with all 3 points.
Did you take the positives out of the West Brom game and work on the other stuff through the week in the build-up to this one?
Yeah, I think you have to. It's important to have a look at the negatives as well, but also take the positives from the last game and try and improve on them and just put pieces together to build the complete performance.
Couple of points on the board already. You'll be looking to add to that tonight, I'm sure, won't you?
Yeah, 100%. That's the mentality we've got. We want to go into games with the ambition to win, so it'll be that again tonight.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. A Yorkshire derby for Leeds United. They've headed down the M1 to Hillsborough for tonight's meeting with Sheffield Wednesday. It's been 2 draws for Leeds so far, and they'll be aiming to ensure that tonight's game brings that first championship win of the campaign. It's the one change in the Leeds United side for this game this evening. Joel Perreault is out and on the bench, and Brendan Aronson starts for Leeds. Not great news in terms of potential replacements. No Verba or Bamford available on the bench. They're both injured. Sheffield Wednesday, well, they've made one change from the side that lost their last game against Sunderland. Valentin comes in for Gassama. So those are the 2 teams. They break, they take their places in their respective halves, and we look forward to the latest fixture in this fledgling championship season. Seen all sorts of different manifestations of Leeds United thus far. A thrilling 3-3 draw against Portsmouth that could have been a defeat and probably